Lovely. So again, thank you very much to those of you who are joining me live. It's always nice to have some people to talk to. So tonight we're going to be talking about sleep. We have quite a big sleep range, so I'm sure you're aware, nighttime and beauty sleep within Neil's Yard Remedies. But I always start these workshops because actually a sleep workshop is something that I've been running for several years. I used to run them in person prior to COVID, and now, of course, they are virtual. But I'm going to be giving you some information and some facts and sort of fun facts, if you like, about sleep itself, because actually it's quite interesting. Some of these things are quite interesting, and it's just kind of good knowledge for you guys to have, really, so that when you're talking about sleep with your customers, with your clients, you can do so with conviction, with a little bit of, background, a little bit of history and information to hand, because of course sleep is essential, isn't it, to our survival, and of course we can't live without it. It is truly as important to us as food and water. It is absolutely vital. And actually sleep deprivation, we all talk about it, don't we? Particularly those of us with young children and things like that, we're always talking about sleep deprivation. But actually when you look at it with more of a serious viewpoint, it is actually very serious, very, very serious, to the point where it can actually kill you. Yeah, I can certainly understand that. Lack of sleep can also affect mental clarity. There has been some very sad documented accidents and things that have happened where maybe the driver or whoever was responsible was basically just too tired, and it really was affecting their mental clarity. It affects our ability to make rational decisions. It massively affects our mood. I think we all know that when we're tired, we're ratty, aren't we? We can get snappy, and you see it in small children. They have meltdowns, they can't quite cope when they're tired. However, on a more serious note, when we are sleep deprived, it can massively affect our body as well, and it can lead, would you believe, to heart disease, kidney failure, depression, and even diabetes, which is quite amazing, really, isn't it? Quite staggering. And it does really show the correlation between the mind and the body. Mind, body and soul really are very, very connected. And of course, at Neil's Yard Remedies, we are all about the holistic approach, all about the whole person, very much reflected in our tree of life, the outer branches and the inner roots. And I think this is really speaks to that, this topic. We actually spend a third of our lives asleep. Interestingly, a third, although I have to say I feel like I spend less than that asleep because I've got two little ones. But yeah, we spend a third of our lives asleep, which is why I say to people it's so important to invest in a good mattress. You really do need to be sleeping on a really good quality firm mattress, and really they do say you should update your mattress every 8 to 10 years, don't they? And if you're spending a third of your life doing something, I think that's quite important. I think it's quite a good investment, frankly. Okay, so a few interesting sleep facts for you. And this is from the National Sleep Organization. Now, when I first put this workshop together, as I say, it was probably about 5-6 years ago now. Many of these was the information and the facts that I got then. I have fact-checked it since. I did it last year, and I have quickly just had a quick look today as well, just because I wanted to make sure I was giving you all sort of up-to-date, valid, relevant information. And everything I'm telling you tonight is factual from the National Sleep Organization. I've also done a bit of research on the NHS as well, because they have a fabulous website, the NHS, I'm sure you're all aware, and they really have got some quite interesting facts on sleep on there as well. So do check out the National Sleep Organization and also what the NHS say about sleep as well. Now, interestingly, research has shown, sorry, I'm just going to admit a few people, there we go. Hello, Abby. I am looking down, guys, by the way. That's mainly because obviously I just physically cannot kind of keep all this information in my head. So I have got my notes here, my sleep notes. So I am referring to them, hence why I'm looking down. Okay, so research has showed that we always sleep better during a new moon and worse during a full moon. And those of you that know me will know that I'm essentially a little bit of a witch. I've got a massive crystal habit. I absolutely love crystals and anything to do with the moon. So I was fascinated to read about this. And of course, we do know, don't we, that the moon is very connected to us, particularly us as women. They say it's very connected with our cycles, our menstrual cycles. And of course, we know it's an actual fact, and any policeman will tell you that crime goes up on a full moon as well. Years and years ago in my 20s, I dated someone who always got really weird, and I mean like properly weird, around the full moon, to the point where I never sort of saw him around that time. You know, I was like, I'll catch up with you in a few days. And that's where the term lunatic comes from, you know, where people go a bit nuts around the full moon. So it was interesting that it affects our sleep as well. So yeah, so we do sleep better during a new moon and worse during a full moon. So that is very interesting. And actually, when I first learned that several years ago, I had never really paid much attention to my sleep cycles before, but now I know, and that is very true of me. It might not be to everybody, of course, we are all different, but that is very true of me. And as we approach a full moon, and you know, over the full moon, maybe a day or so afterwards, I always sleep worse, which is very interesting, isn't it? It is not understood why. All the research that's been done, no one can really definitively tell us why that is. It's just one of those things. Okay, now ideally young babies should get about 16 hours sleep a day. Now that of course includes their daytime naps as well as during the night. And if someone could tell my daughter that, my 7-month-old, I'd be very grateful, because she's certainly not sleeping for 16 hours. But apparently most babies should be sleeping, obviously depending on their age, about 16 hours within the 24-hour period. Of course, that reduces massively as we age throughout our life, and the very elderly people, older people, really only need about 7 or 8 hours a night. So the older we get, the less sleep we need, it seems. Though I am 42, and really I could easily do 10 to 12 hours uninterrupted if I was allowed. Now, sleep issues. Now, this is very key, and I think this is something that's, you know, good for you to know with regards to sort of promoting our sleep ranges. Sleep issues actually affect 1/3 of adults in the UK. I only actually have, you know, some data really from the UK, although I'm told that it's very, very similar in the Western world generally. So sort of give or take, sleep issues affect 1/3 of all adults, say, you know, in the Western world at some point in their lives. Now, reasons for this are varied, of course, but they can include stress, grief, illness, family issues, oh gosh, shift work, because of course not everybody works a nice tidy 9 to 5. You know, there are many, many people that do shift work, and that of course massively affects their sleeping habits. Exercise, bad diet, lack of fluid intake, lack of water, and of course having young children. That'll be a big one. Apparently, according to the National Sleep Organization, having children robs you of 44 days of sleep per year per child. Now, I have 4 children. The older 2 admittedly don't wake me anymore, but the 2 little ones, yeah, I would probably go along with that. I was quite shocked. 44 days of sleep per year per child, which means that I'm down 88 days of sleep. Crikey, that's why I look like this. So I've got bags under my eyes like suitcases. But yeah, so when you are talking to your customers and your clients, if you know that they've got young children, then, you know, it's worth pointing that out to them. There is an actual name for the condition of struggling to get out of bed in the morning, and I certainly suffer with this. Now, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, but I might not be. It's dysana, spelt Dysana. So I'll say that again, Dysana, dysana, I think that is how you pronounce it. It might be dysana. And it is a recognised medical condition when people really, really struggle to get out of bed in the morning. And like I say, I think I suffer with that, and I think my 12-year-old suffers with that as well. Interestingly, research shows that 75% of people in the Western world dream in colour. But before colour television was invented, only 15% of people did. Now, this is fascinating to me, and I'll tell you why. I was having a chat with my now 10-year-old daughter a few years ago. She was probably about 7 or 8 at the time. And we were just chatting, and she was talking about something. And I said, and I said to her, "You sure you didn't dream that? Because I really don't think that happened." And she looked at me and she said, "Well, no, it did happen, Mum, because it was in colour. So it must have happened." And I was a bit baffled. I was like, "What do you mean it was in colour?" I couldn't really understand her. Anyway, turns out she dreams in black and white. Now, I dream in colour. My partner dreams in colour. My ex-husband dreams in colour. I've never actually encountered anybody that doesn't dream in colour until I had this conversation with Lexi, like I say, my then sort of 7, 8-year-old, and she just assumed that everybody dreamt in black and white. She couldn't get her head around it. She couldn't believe it. It was like mind blowing to her that I dreamt in colour. But yeah, so apparently 75% of us dream in colour, which means that 25% of us don't. Lexi obviously falls into the 25% that doesn't, and she dreams in black and white. But before colour television was invented, whenever that was, it was only 15% of people dreamt in colour, and 85% dreamt in black and white. So that's really interesting, isn't it? Really interesting. And that just goes to show how massively our brains are affected by TV. So, no matter what people tell you and everything, we are clearly very, very sort of programmed, or there's something, the TV screens or screen time in general clearly does something to our brains if it has caused a massive change like that. And now most of us, 75% of us, do dream in colour. I just thought that was fascinating because, like I say, my daughter doesn't. She's obviously in the 25% that doesn't. This is interesting as well. In 2012, a Chinese man died because he deliberately stayed awake. He forced himself to stay awake for as long as he possibly could. He was doing some kind of scientific experiment. I couldn't get much detail about this, unfortunately, but he deliberately stayed awake, and he managed a full 11 days straight before his body literally just gave up. Now, what I could find out is that he was still eating and drinking as normal and going about his normal life as normal, but he just was not sleeping, and every time he kind of nodded off, he would have somebody wake him up, or something that was strapped to him that would wake him. As I say, I really don't know all the details. He lasted 11 days and then his body just shut down and he died. I don't know how old he was, but from what I could read, he wasn't particularly an old man. So that is very interesting, and that happened in 2012. Apparently no one has ever in the history of anything like this ever being sort of looked into, has ever survived for more than a fortnight without sleep. No one has ever managed more than that. A healthy adult apparently will start hallucinating after a full 24 hours of no sleep, and will become psychotic within days. I have personally had an experience where I had been awake for something like, it wasn't quite 48 hours. It was probably something like 42, 44 hours, something like that straight. And it was after I'd given birth to my daughter. I won't go into all the details, but actually I did then start to hallucinate, and I started seeing little fires in my bedroom. I was literally just seeing fires pop up all over the carpet and things. Clearly they weren't there. I was just hallucinating. But yeah, I had been awake for about, like I say, 44, 46 hours, something like that at that point. So clearly that is true. If any of you have any tales to tell on any of these topics, I'd love to hear them. So either pop them in the chat or speak up later, because it's fascinating, this topic, isn't it? So if anyone does have any interesting stories of sleep deprivation or anything, please do share them with us. Obviously, it goes without saying, really, it is not ethically viable for any researchers to deliberately keep people awake. So that is why there hasn't really been a lot of research into this. As I say, that Chinese man in 2012, he took it upon himself to do it to himself. But it's not like research teams can actually, actively ask participants or anything to do this. And, it is completely ethically wrong, of course. So there really is still a huge amount of unanswered questions about the effect of lack of sleep on human beings. As I mentioned before, sleep is also vital to our physical health, as I said, as well as mental health. Many studies prove that the body repairs and regenerates itself while we sleep. Now, I'm a beauty therapist, as many of you may know, and I've always specialised in skincare. So I do a lot of facials, makeup, etc. Very much sort of my speciality is skin, really. And I can tell you that the nighttime when we are asleep is when the skin regenerates itself. It is when the collagen and the elastin come into play, if you like. Obviously, we have different levels of skin, of course, and you have the collagen and elastin in the dermis, the epidermis, and they are regenerated overnight while we sleep. Okay, so that is why people that are tired, that really are lacking in sleep, you can see it on their faces. And I don't just mean the bags under their eyes or the dark circles. I am actually talking about, you know, the lack of radiance in their skin. I can tell somebody that isn't sleeping well from a mile off because of their skin. Their skin isn't able to renew itself overnight, and it really is lacking a certain radiance. The body can really fix us while we're sleeping, which is why when we're ill, doctors recommend bed rest. And even if the patient can't sleep very well for whatever reason, resting is the next best thing. So the bodies really do, you know, heal us and fix us, if you like, when we're sleeping and when we're in a deep sense of relaxation. So it really is so important to get lots of rest and lots of sleep when you are ill, so that the body can really focus on healing you and getting you better, and hasn't got to focus on all the other things that it does while you are awake. It also helps to regulate our metabolism. It helps with our blood pressure, and it also helps our brain function, to name a few. So it really, as I said at the beginning, has a huge effect on our physical well-being as well as our mental well-being. Interestingly, when we are sleep deprived, our food cravings for high fat or sugary foods surge by up to 45%. Now, again, this is something that I can genuinely vouch for, having had 4 children. I do always succumb to that mid-afternoon sort of 3-4 p.m. slump. And that is when I always want to be reaching for the chocolate biscuits, or, you know, whatever it might be. I'm trying my best not to, and I'm trying to keep myself nice and hydrated, but that is always when I want a cup of tea and a chocky bicky or something. But it was interesting to learn that actually they know statistically that it surges by 45%. And it's because of, and again, this is a word that I'm not very good on the pronunciation of, but basically when you are very, very tired, our hormones dip, and the hormone called leptin, I hope I'm saying that right, leptin, which is the hormone that helps you feel full, it will dip, and the hunger hormone, ghrelin, GHRELIN, pronunciation never my strong point, rises. So we crave sugar because it gives us that temporary energy boost. Basically, our body is searching for energy. So what's a quick boost? Sugar. We are the only known mammal who can deliberately avoid or decrease our sleep. So we have the brain capacity, the intelligence, if that's the right word, to deliberately stop sleep. So you know what it's like when you're binge watching a series on Netflix or something, and you just want to watch one more and one more and one more. You know, we are the only, of course, we're the only species to have Netflix, frankly, aren't we? But animals won't do that. When animals are tired, they sleep. They are, in my opinion, more intelligent than us in that sense. They eat when they're hungry, they sleep when they're tired. We will deliberately stop ourselves from sleeping, you know, or keep ourselves awake all night so we can go clubbing or whatever it is that we're doing. Now, dreaming, no one knows exactly why we dream. And again, there has been a lot of research done on this. But again, definitively not 100% sure. It's known that the emotional centers in our brain that are more active when we are asleep than our logical centers. So the logical part of our brain tends to rest a little bit more while we are asleep, and the emotional tends to sort of step up a gear. This can often, they think, I'm saying, I don't want to talk as if this is fact because it hasn't been proven, but the scientists believe that that is why our dreams can be quite odd, and sometimes they don't make a lot of sense, and they tend to often be about things that are an issue for us, if you know what I mean. It's a bit of a maybe an odd one, but I never dream about my partner. He is never featured in any of my dreams. He's just never ever in my dreams. But for a long time, annoyingly, I dreamt about my ex-husband. Now, from what I can work out from the little bit of research I've done, that's because my ex-husband is an issue in my life, a massive headache in my life, and I still have quite a lot of, strong anger and everything towards him. Whereas my partner, Matt, my fiance, we have a good relationship. There is no real issues between us. I'm not saying that everything's perfect. We don't ever argue. Of course, we're normal people, but he's not this big issue. Everything's just cool with us. And interestingly, when I look back over the dreams that I've had throughout my life, and I'm sure it's the same for you guys, we do tend to dream about the people that are a sticking point. Do you know what I mean? So that was interesting to read about. One widely held theory is that dreams help you store important memories as well. So if you are kind of working through something or trying to process something or file something away in the right place in your brain, dreams will help you do that. They also help you rid unimportant memories as well, and sort through complicated emotions and, as I said, file things away. I did hear, and I don't know if this was true because I heard it via TikTok. I don't have a TikTok account, but my two older kids do, and they were telling me this, so I don't know if this is true or not, but apparently you will never see a face in your dream or in any dream that you've never actually seen in real life. So even if there was someone in your dream that was fairly insignificant, I don't know, you were in a shop and there was somebody in the shop with you, or the shopkeeper, or somebody, that wasn't particularly fundamental to the dream itself, that shopkeeper or that person you have seen somewhere before, even if it's just in passing on the street, which was interesting. Now, again, please don't take my word for it on that, because that particular fact did not come from the sleep organisation or the NHS. That came from my kids via TikTok. So let's just take that with a bucket full of salt. But if it's true, it's quite interesting, isn't it? Now, the average person has 3 to 5 dreams a night, but obviously we don't always remember them. In fact, I could probably count on one hand how many dreams I can actually remember, possibly within a month. Sometimes I have a very, very vivid dream. I'm sure it's the same for you. Again, often dictated by the moon or my mood or my cycle or something like that. But apparently we do dream 3 to 5 times a night. We just don't really often remember them. We roughly have 2 hours REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep, and that is where we are a little bit more conscious and in a much lighter sleep. It is the dreams that we have when we're in that lighter, more conscious level of sleep that we tend to remember, and the dreams that we have where we're in a very, very deep sort of, sleeping like a log, conked out sort of mode. We don't tend to remember those dreams. And it's interesting, isn't it, especially when I watch my children, sometimes I just think, literally a bomb could go off right next to them and they wouldn't wake up when they're sleeping. And at other times they'd hear a conversation in the house next door and suddenly they'd be awake. And of course that's all to do with how deep they are asleep at that any given time. Again, I don't know this for sure, but the average child, I believe, I have been told, sleeps very roughly on a 45-minute cycle. And again, just by observing my own children over the years, I would say that is fairly true. So they sort of, they're in a deep sleep for about 45 minutes and then they'll stir, they'll go into a lighter sleep, potentially wake up, or fingers crossed, sort of nod back off and go back into another cycle of 45-minute deeper sleep. That certainly seems to be true of children. I don't know if sleep cycles are the same for adults. They may well not be, but yeah, so it is interesting. So that's just a little bit of sort of fun facts really about sleep. I have got my sleep workshop. I think I have got it in the depths of my computer somewhere. So if anyone does want these facts, then do let me know and I will do my best to email them across if I can retrieve them from the depths of my computer. I have had some issues with hacking over the past week or so I can't guarantee that I can necessarily access everything, because I'm still having problems with passwords and accessing all my information, which is very annoying to say the least. Okay, now moving on to our lovely sleep ranges. So at Neal's Yard Remedies, we've got a wide range of products, as you know, to help with sleep and sleep issues. And as we've ascertained, a third of adults in the Western world do struggle with sleep issues at some point in their lives for a plethora of reasons. And of course, you know, at Neal's Yard, we do take a holistic inside-out approach. So the reason I mention that is because it obviously is very important when you're potentially talking to a client who might be having a sleep issue or really isn't sleeping very well. You can throw a bucket full of Beauty Sleep Concentrate or nighttime tea or pillow mist at her or him. But actually, unless you get to the root cause of the problem, their sleep is not going to improve dramatically. Yes, it might help them nod off quicker, absolutely, and we, as we go through the different products, we can discuss that. I'm not saying that they won't help, but fundamentally looking at somebody as a whole, unless they address the reasons that they are not sleeping, whether that's bad diet, whether that's because they're sitting up till 1 a.m. every day, you know, every night, on some game console, and then they're wondering why they're not having good quality sleep afterwards, you know, all these kind of things, unless they're not addressing the issue, goes without saying that their sleep is not going to be perfect. And of course, you know, things happen in life. I know that for a period of time after my first husband and I split up, I didn't sleep very well at all. There were several months where I just barely slept. I would grab a couple of hours a night on the sofa, you know, until I literally just sort of conked out watching TV. But gradually, obviously, as the years have gone on and as my life has evolved and everything, of course, I've moved on and I'm now sleeping a lot better. So obviously sometimes there are periods in our lives, whether we're going through something traumatic or, you know, experiencing grief or a stressful situation, having a problem at work, whatever it might be, that is obviously going to have a direct effect on the quality of sleep we have. So obviously it's, you know, important to say that, not that I want to preach to the choir, because of course, you know, none of you are silly, but of course it's just important for your customers to realize that, you know, an £8 remedy to roll nighttime is not going to cure all their problems if they're going through a, you know, divorce or something. Obviously, you know, it's important to manage expectations. So I just thought that was kind of worth saying, first of all, on the get-go, as it were. I always think when you're talking to a customer, and it doesn't necessarily have to be about sleep, but about anything really, isn't it? You know, whether it's a sleep issue, a skin issue, you know, nutrition issue, it's always worth asking a few gentle questions, you know, and I do stress the gentle questions. Obviously, we're not GPs. We don't want to start probing people. But, you know, is she under a lot of stress? Has she had a change in circumstances? Has she suddenly start taking, I don't know, some new medication or HRT, or, you know, she suddenly started to take the contraceptive pill, for example? Has her diet changed? You know what I mean? Just so you, as the consultant who is trying to advise her, can get a bit of an overall view of what's going on with her and why that her sleep issues are happening. Obviously be ethical, of course, and obviously have integrity. Tempting as it is to sell products, and I know how tempting it is to want to just sell products, I really do think it's important to get to the source of the problem first, and I think that shows integrity, and it shows that you really do care about your customers. You're not just trying to flog something to get a quick buck. Okay, so nighttime products. So we'll move on to the products now, yeah, so this is quite exciting, really. So I'm going to start with the beauty sleep range. Now, I haven't been organised enough, unfortunately, today. I had planned to have all the products sort of in front of me so I could hold them up beautifully, one after the other. But I'm hoping that most of you have an idea of what the products I'm talking about look like. And if you're new and you don't particularly know what an individual product I'm speaking about looks like, please just feel free to look it up online. But we're going to start with the beauty sleep range, which is a beautiful range, 6 products in total. And I'm going to start with the first product. And actually, I remember when this very product was launched, the Beauty Sleep Concentrate, or BSC, as we do sometimes call it, which is a fantastic product, an award-winning product. In fact, it's won several awards. Now, sadly, I don't have time tonight to go into all the nitty gritty and all the awards and every detail about every product, because there's actually quite a few nighttime products that I want to go through tonight. And then I do want to have an opportunity for you guys to speak or ask questions. So I can't go into too much depth, but it is award winning. It is also a real beauty editor's favorite, and it is often featured in, in the magazines and in the beauty pages. And it's just a generally lovely product. It was the first one in the range, as I've said, and it's been clinically proven to hydrate the skin for up to 24 hours. Now, I'm just going to very, very briefly touch on what it means to be clinically proven, because that is a term that's bandied around a lot. And I think it's important to kind of, like I say, explain what that actually means, because it's quite important. A lot of our products are clinically proven, not all, but a lot. Now, to have a product clinically proven, the first thing I should say is it is really expensive. It is an incredibly expensive, lengthy process to have done. I'm simplifying it hugely, but essentially, it is where a product is sent off completely anonymously to a completely independent laboratory, where it is tested at length to see if it does what the company that produces it, in this case Neal's Yard Remedies, claims it does. Is it actually doing what you're saying it should do? If it comes back as a yes, and again, I am simplifying this, of course, then it is clinically proven in completely independent trials. And as I say, it's completely independent. The people we have our products proven or clinically proven by have got nothing to do with Neal's Yard Remedies, and it arrives in completely plain packaging, so it doesn't arrive in our famous blue bottles or anything like that. So when you see that something is clinically proven, it means that it has been proven by completely independent people, scientists, that it does what it says on the tin. And it has been clinically proven to hydrate the skin for up to 24 hours. It has a smoothing tripeptide formula, which essentially supports the skin's sort of natural nighttime regeneration. Do you remember I talked a moment ago about the regeneration process, which is when the collagen and elastin are produced in the skin. As we age, collagen and elastin obviously are not produced to the same level that they did when we were in our 20s and 30s, but the skin will produce a certain amount of collagen and elastin, and it helps the skin repair itself. So it will help the skin look more plump, will heal the deeper wrinkles, will heal any grazes, marks, anything like that on it, and it will help to reduce the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles as well. So it's a fantastic product. As I say, it is award winning, and I know several people that swear by it. It also contains a really lovely essential oil blend, our sort of magical essential oil blend, which contains, I can never say this properly, again my pronunciation is shocking, as you've learned, liang liang, patchouli and clary sage, and it just has this really lovely, deeply relaxing aroma, which really does help lull the wearer into a deeper sense of sleep. And I have heard from many people that it helps them fall asleep quicker, and it helps them sleep better, a deeper quality of sleep. I certainly know the difference in my sleep when I have it on and when I don't have it on. Absolutely. Sometimes I do get asked, I'm sure you have as well, is how do you use Beauty Sleep Concentrate? It is a concentrate, which is essentially sort of another word for a serum. That means it has a smaller molecular structure than something like a moisturizer, which means it can penetrate the skin on a much deeper level. So if you think of moisturizers, they are generally speaking designed to sit on the surface of the skin. That is what moisturizers are designed to do. They have a larger molecular structure, meaning that they physically cannot penetrate the skin too deeply, and they are designed to sit on the surface of the skin and have a protective role. Serums, facial oils, concentrates, elixirs, anything like that have a smaller molecular structure, meaning they can penetrate the skin to a much deeper level. So they're working at a much deeper level of the dermis than a normal moisturizer. And that means they can reach the levels of the skin where the collagen and the elastin are produced, and they can really help the skin do its job, give the skin a boost, a helping hand, if you like. Now, really, speaking as a beauty therapist, I always recommend that anybody over the age of about 30 needs to be wearing a serum and a moisturizer, simply because they do completely different jobs. A serum sinks much deeper into the skin, as I've just said, and it helps on a basal layer where the collagen and elastin are produced, and the moisturizer sits on top of your skin, more like a protective kind of layer, and gives your skin some hydration and nourishment. Many of you will have heard me say this before. I usually get a giggle or two, but it's a really good way to describe the relationship between a moisturizer and a serum. Is a bit like the relationship between your underwear and your outerwear. You wouldn't go to Sainsbury's in just your bra and knickers, and let's be honest, you probably wouldn't go to Sainsbury's in just your jeans and t-shirt without your bra and knickers on underneath, because frankly you'd probably feel a bit uncomfortable, wouldn't you? You know, you need to hold the girls in and all the rest of it. I certainly do. So really we tend to wear both. We tend to wear bra and knickers, and we wear t-shirt and jeans, or whatever. You get the picture. And that is the difference between a serum and a moisturizer. They are completely different. Okay, anyone over the age of 30 really does need to be wearing both. Gone off topic a little bit there, sorry about that. I just wanted to kind of clarify that. Beauty Sleep Concentrate is essentially works like a serum, so it penetrates quite deep. Now, some people find that that's all they want on their skin overnight. I do have a couple of clients that have oilier skin, and actually they don't like anything too heavy on their skin overnight, particularly in the summer. And so actually they're happy just with the Beauty Sleep Concentrate, and that is absolutely fine. Someone like me, however, my skin is literally drier than the desert. You know, I've got very, very naturally dry skin. I mean, you know, I could smooth a bottle of Beauty Sleep Concentrate on me and it would just suck it all in. So I have to have something on the top as well. So yeah, either way is fine. Okay, so just to clarify that. But it does work. And as I say, it's clinically proven to work. Okay, moving on. So like the Beauty Sleep Concentrate, we have our lovely Beauty Sleep Body Butter, which actually was our second the product in the range to be launched. And that again incorporates liang liang, patchouli, excuse me, clary sage, essential oils. It is deeply, deeply nourishing. It actually contains shea and cocoa butter as well. And as those of you that will have experienced it, touched it, felt it, used it, it is very rich. It's one of our real rich butters that we have, very, very thick. Sometimes I feel like, you know, you could unscrew it and turn it upside down and it's not going anywhere. Do you know what I mean? It's like a really thick butter. Beautiful for someone like me that really does have very dry skin, as I've said. I know some people that just use it on certain areas. They might just use it maybe on the knees or around the elbows, you know, areas of concern, drier skin. I know some people that just use it on the upper half of their body before bed, maybe the arms, the chest, etc. They're not necessarily slathering it all over their legs. It doesn't really matter how you use it. It is very much designed for the body though, of course, and not the face, hence the name Body Butter. And it is a beautiful product. And as I say, very nourishing to dry skin as well, and beautiful to have on overnight. The Beauty Sleep Body Lotion is very similar with regards to the smell and experience, but it's much, much lighter. Now, again, just to be very, very clear here, the difference between a lotion and a cream or slash butter is a lotion is water-based and a cream is oil-based, and that's the same for any product really. So if you're talking about a body lotion, a face lotion, lotion is always lighter, thinner, slightly more watery, and it tends to be water-based. It has many other ingredients within it, of course, but it tends to be water-based. And a cream is oil-based. With a butter, you're just talking about a very, very rich, heavier version of a cream. And our body butter, as I just said, does contain shea and also cocoa butters to make it super, super rich. So really it is just personal preference. Some people prefer a lighter lotion. Some people prefer the body butter. It's worth noting actually that the lotion does contain olive and pumpkin oils as well. So some people do quite like that, you know, although it's water based, it does contain the olive and pumpkin oils, and it has got a lovely slip to it, the lotion, which is very nice. Now they can be used separately, of course, but actually I have known them to be used together as well. Body butter on the body, or parts of the body, maybe, you know, if you've got dry upper arms or something like that, and then people use the lotion possibly on the legs, wherever. You know, you can interchange, you can use them both if you want to. I do have some real diehard fans of the range, and they'll have the Beauty Sleep concentrate on their face, they'll have, you know, the body butter on their arms, the body lotion on their bodies, and you know, they sleep well, shall we say. They do sleep very well. Okay, we also, of course, have our lovely foaming bath, which is a slightly newer addition to the range of the Beauty Sleep foaming bath. It has the same blend of essential oils in it, the patchouli, the clary sage, the liang liang. Works, of course, in exactly the same way that all our lovely foaming baths work. You know, you're running it under the tap as you run your bath. Goes without saying, really, that we would highly recommend the Beauty Sleep foaming bath is used at bedtime and not before you're about to, you know, go and do a big drive or operate heavy machinery or anything like that, like any of these products. It might be a silly thing to say, but as we know through working with Neal's Yard Remedies, essential oils are very potent and they really work. No matter what anyone tells you, essential oils are incredibly potent and they can have a huge effect on the human body. Even the skeptics, believe me, the essential oils really are very, very potent and can have a huge effect on the body. So therefore, you would not want to be slathering Beauty Sleep concentrate all over your face, the body butter all over your body, and then go out and do a full day of work, because, you know, clearly it is not designed for that. It is designed to be used at night, in the evening, before bed. We also now have the gorgeous oil, don't we? The really lovely shower oil, which is lovely. And of course, it's just all these things, it's personal preference, isn't it? Some people prefer a body wash, a shower gel, and some people like the oil. I have had a few people comment to me both about the Beauty Sleep shower oil and also the Wild Rose shower oil, that they almost don't feel an oil really cleans the body as well as a gel or as a soap. It does, of course. It's just personal preference, isn't it? And it's how kind of, you know, we feel. I did think it was worth mentioning at this point that although it's not part of the Beauty Sleep range, we do have the really lovely lavender shower gel. And actually, me personally, I'm a big fan of that. And I prefer to use that if I'm having an evening shower than the Beauty Sleep body oil. Again, just personal preference. I would prefer to use a shower gel in the shower. I don't know, you know, years and years been indoctrinated of, you know, having that sort of soapy wash to get clean, and then I'd rather get out and put a cream or a body oil on me afterwards. But it's nice that we have the options, I think. And like I say, the lavender shower gel is not necessarily part of our sleep range, but it's definitely worth mentioning, because if I have an evening shower, I'm much more likely to use that. And if I have a morning shower, I'll be reaching for the citrus shower gel. Do you know what I mean? And I'm sure it's the same for many of you and for your clients and customers as well. And then lastly, in the Beauty Sleep range, we have our fantastic Beauty Sleep supplement, which is taken orally, and it is part of our supplement vitamin range, and it contains, I've got this written down, so I want to make sure I get it right. It contains vitamin B12, B5 and B6, which help to reduce fatigue. It also contains zinc, which aids in normal metabolism and helps combat oxidative stress, and hyaluronic acid, which helps to plump and moisturize the skin from within. Now, you'll have heard me speak, many of you will have heard me speak about hyaluronic acid in the past. It's one of my best friends, really. It's got a horrible, scary name. It sounds very sort of synthetic. I can assure you there's nothing synthetic at all about hyaluronic acid. It's actually it's a substance that the body produces naturally. And we tend to use a plant-based hyaluronic acid, and it really helps to sort of lock in the moisture. Is the way I kind of describe it. It locks in the moisture in the skin and keeps your skin looking lovely and plump and radiant and hydrated, which is of course what you want. And again, sort of moisturizing the skin from within. The dosage is 1 before bedtime. I don't personally take it myself, but according to its many fans, it can genuinely aid in a restful night's sleep. Other people have reported noticing a visible glow on their skin after taking it for a few weeks, and experiencing softer, more plump skin and having more energy generally due to having better sleep, sort of a better, more deeper, more satisfying sleep. They therefore feel like they have more energy during the day. There is some reviews online about that particular product. In fact, there's reviews on all our products. And something I say to my team a lot about any of our products really is neilsyardremedies.com is a fantastic resource for us as consultants. Whatever you do, don't send your customers there for obvious reasons. You don't want them shopping on neilsyardremedies.com. Of course, you want them shopping with you. You don't even want them signing up and getting emails and things from neilsyardremedies.com, because they'll be bombarded with special offers, discount codes, etc. You don't want that. However, it is a website that I use myself a lot. So when I want to research a product or a range, particularly if I'm doing, something like this, a workshop, or if I just want to find out a little bit more about something, that is my go-to place, first of all, because they have a lot more information about our products and about our ranges, and generally actually about the company we work with and, what we're about, what we do, than we do on our replicated websites. So if you're interested in any of these products that I'm talking about and you want to know a little bit more, or you would like to read some genuine customer reviews, both the good, the bad and the ugly, go to neilsyardremedies.com and have a little read up. But there was some interesting feedback when I last checked about beauty sleep concentrate, beauty sleep supplement, that's the one, beauty sleep supplement. And as I say, one lady that I quoted here said that she felt she had more plump skin, and she said she had a lot more energy during the day because she felt she was having a more satisfying night's sleep. So I thought that was very interesting. So yeah, and guys, if any of you use the beauty sleep supplement, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. So again, feel free to pop that in the chat. It'd be lovely to hear. Okay, I'm going to move on now from the beauty sleep range. We're going to touch on some of our other nighttime products. And the first one, and one of my personal favourites, and one that I always have in the house, is of course our Goodnight Pillow Mist. And I just love it. And those of you that have been around for as long as me, I'm looking at you, Jane Batten, and a few others, us old dinosaurs, that have been knocking about with Neil's Yard for a long time, we'll remember, won't we? Well, we didn't have this product, and we used to bang on and on, please make a pillow mist, please make a pillow mist. Many other companies do it. And I'll always remember Xenia and other people saying to me, oh, all you need to do is, just drop a drop of lavender oil on your pillow, before bed. It has exactly the same effect. And I remember thinking, yeah, it does have the same effect, absolutely, but it's bloody well ruining my pillows, my linen. So we were delighted, weren't we, when they did finally bring out the Goodnight Pillow Mist, and it has been a real customer hit ever since. It is also an award-winning product. It has won several awards, including some awards through the mother and baby arena. So some of the mum and baby magazines, the parenting magazines, things like this is a real hit with them for obvious reasons. Okay, now it is proven to improve sleep from the very first night. So the very first night you start to use it, it is proven to start improving the quality of your sleep. And it has a blend of organic lavender, vetiver, which is a very, very sort of calming, grounding essential oil. And I'm not an aromatherapist, but aromatherapist friends of mine always say, oh, you've got to be really careful with vetiver, very careful. You can't be going out doing long distance driving or operating machinery or anything like that when you're around vetiver. So it contains organic lavender, vetiver, and also, interestingly, mandarin essential oils to promote a sense of calm for a deeply, deeply restful night's sleep. It's a beautiful smell, I'm sure you'll agree. And in studies, I'm just reading here because again, I want to make sure I've got it right for you. 81% found that the mist helped to calm and relax them. 81%, that's quite high really. 74% found it aided in their sleep, and 69% said they fell asleep quicker. So that's interesting. So these are obviously willing human volunteers. I'll just quickly say that again. 81% found that the mist helped to calm and relax them. 74% found it aided in their sleep, and 69% said it helped them fall asleep quicker. It can be used in children's rooms. Parent discretion is always recommended at this point, and I'm not going to get into a big discussion about what age and all the rest of it, because every parent is different, and frankly every child is different. All I would say though is be sensible, take precautions, and obviously you're not going to be using it in a tiny baby's room, a newborn or anything like that. I have a 7-month-old, my youngest is 7 months, and I wouldn't be using it on her bedding yet. But I also have a 2-year-old. He's 2 years 2 months now, and I'm happy to use it on his pillow. So do you know what I mean? But again, parent discretion, and my older kids, absolutely no problem. It is best sprayed at arm's length, I would say, just onto the bedding, either on the pillow itself, as the name would suggest, or you can just spritz it on the duvet, or just around the room a little bit. With my 2-year-old, I might not want to necessarily spray it onto his pillow where he's going to have his head, but I might just pop a couple of little spritz onto his duvet, say, do you know what I mean? Or maybe onto his teddy, which is by his bed, something like that. But it's a really lovely product, and funnily enough, I mean, I dropped one off just yesterday to somebody that's ordered another bottle. I took an order for one this morning. I would say it's probably one of my top sellers. It's also a really nice price point, isn't it? I think it's 15, isn't it? Or 15.50 off the top of my head. I'm rubbish at remembering prices off the top of my head, but it's a really nice price point, and it's a nice gift. I think it comes boxed, and I think it makes a really nice gift for people. Really nice gift for people. I know people that are that have bought it for their mums for Mother's Day, for example, or it's just a nice stocking filler at Christmas. It's just a nice generic product suitable for men, women, as I say, kids, and it's a lovely one. I love the fact that it's boxed because it just looks so much more elegant. Okay, moving on, our nighttime range. So we have our nighttime essential oil, don't we, which is lovely, and again a good seller for us, a good seller. Our top selling essential oils, it won't surprise you to know, are lavender, women's balance, and then I believe nighttime is sort of up there. It's one of the more popular ones, and our nighttime essential oil blend incorporates the lavender as well as rose and vetiver. Again, please note the vetiver, and it promotes a deep and restful night. It's very soothing, very comforting, and it really helps to kind of still the monkey mind. Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean by monkey mind? When you're trying to unwind from a crazy day, nighttime is very, very good for that. Obviously best used in one of our fabulous diffusers or in an oil burner before bedtime, and generally speaking, the official line is that we would use it for children over 2 years, although again, as I've stressed before, this is very much up to the parent's discretion, and of course it depends on the child. You can have a 2.5-year-old that's almost more like a 4-year-old, or you've got a 2.5-year-old that's more like a 1.5-year-old. You need to very much think about that individual child. I'm not going to go into the safety of essential oils tonight, because that is a whole other training session, but it just goes without saying that when you are diffusing or burning essential oils, please make sure you have ventilation in the room. That is critical. Okay, so at the moment I've got eucalyptus radiata going on in my little one's bedroom, because they've both had colds. My 2 little ones have had quite nasty coughs and colds this week, and the eucalyptus radiata is really good actually at helping them sort of breathe better at night. But I always make sure the door is open. I wouldn't keep them in a room with that on, with the door. Do you know what I mean? And again, you need to think about the dilution. If you've got a small room, you're only going to put 1 or 2 drops in. A bigger room, you might put 4 or 5 drops in, but you really do need to think about that. and to talk that through with your customers and your clients when you are selling them essential oils, of course. No advice, remember, we can't advise on essential oils if we're not qualified aromatherapists. People are very much, of course, welcome to buy their essential oils through us, but we cannot advise, okay? Just make sure they are aware of some very basic safety measures. Okay, now we also have our calming blend. Now, interestingly, our calming blend was specifically designed with children in mind. And I love this. I love the fact that it was designed with kids in mind. And it contains chamomile, mandarin, and bergamot. So a very, very different blend. Now, it's not so much geared at nighttime, but it really helps to promote a sense of relaxation, and it just helps to what I call calm everyone down a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Those of you that have kids, you know that sometimes they're all up here, they come back from school and everybody's all kind of, and if you just need to calm everybody down a little bit as you sort of approach bedtime, bath time, etc., calming is very, very good. And as I say, it was designed with children in mind. It can sort of take that overexcitedness away. I have heard as well, and I don't know if this is true or not because I don't have a dog, but I have heard it works on dogs too. So if you've got an overexcited puppy, Jane is putting a thumbs up, and yeah, I have heard this, Jane. So yeah, if you've got an overexcited puppy or a bit of a hyper dog, I have heard that the calming blend is good for dogs as well. Again, goes without saying that even if you are diffusing or burning essential oils around animals, ventilation is key with animals, just as it is with humans. Just wanted to say that. It's got a much more subtle fragrance, the calming blend. Not everybody likes it. I've even heard some people say that they can even barely smell it. I wouldn't go that far, but it is much more subtle. It's one of our more subtle pre-blends. So it's just something for you to be aware of. Okay, so now going back to the nighttime, so we've got our lovely remedies to roll nighttime, haven't we? I am a huge fan of our remedies to roll in general. I swear by our travel remedies to roll for helping with travel sickness. In fact, I know it works. I have got proof that it works. But sticking with the nighttime, it's a fantastic travel companion actually, because it's really good. You can take it with you much easier than you can take a diffuser and essential oil to, say, a hotel, or if you're just having a night away or something, or if you prefer not to burn oils. Not everybody wants to burn or diffuse oils in their house, and obviously, I have heard of people say, oh, my husband can't bear it when I've got a diffuser going, he suffers with headaches or whatever it might be, whereas a remedy to roll, of course, is something that you're just using on your person. It's a personal remedy, not something that's going to, the whole room will necessarily benefit from. And it contains neroli, rose, and chamomile, and it just gently sort of induces a sense of calm and relaxation when it's time for bed. Not to be confused with our relaxation remedy to roll, which is different. Now, relaxation remedy to roll is very good if you're stressed, if you're getting a little bit worked up, but the relaxation one can be used in the day perfectly safely. It just kind of takes you down a peg or two, just gives you a moment, helps you ground yourself a wee bit more, helps kind of you get out of your head a little bit in the monkey mind again, and the relaxation, as I say, is perfectly safe for daytime use. Nighttime, as I've stressed with some of these other products, you wouldn't want to be putting nighttime remedy to roll on your pulse points, on your wrists, etc., and then driving, operating heavy machinery, etc. And it's just something to note if you are at a party. Now, obviously, showcase terminology, Cressy. If you are doing a showcase in somebody else's home, you're at a host's house, and maybe you're talking about remedies to roll, this is not one that I would pass round, because I would not want anybody to be putting it on their wrists and then driving home, particularly if they're drinking wine as well. You just need to be a little bit cautious and a little bit sensible. It really works. And again, you can rub it just like with the other remedies to roll. You rub it onto your wrists, your temples, but please be aware they can be quite potent. They really can be quite potent. I do use the remedies to roll nighttime on my older two children, who are now 10 and 12. I probably wouldn't use it on my 2-year-old. I think he's a little bit young. There isn't any sort of official line on when to use a remedy to roll, because again, it goes back to parents' discretion. It's such a hard one. But yeah, I'm more than happy to use it on older children. I will probably not use it on anyone under about 3, 4, but that is just me. I also, again, this is just personally, I avoided all remedies to roll while I was pregnant. A bit of a grey area, this one. It really is a bit of grey area. Obviously, it's not neat essential oil direct on the skin because, of course, it's blended with carrier oils and stuff, of course. But as we know, essential oils are incredibly potent. They are known to pass the placenta and get into the baby. So I just felt I would err on the side of caution. It was only for 9 months of my life, ×4, and I would just avoid remedies to roll generally while I was pregnant. I am now breastfeeding. I'm still breastfeeding my 7-month-old, and I've gone back to using remedies to roll again on myself, and I feel that that's safe. But again, I just kind of wanted to bring that to your attention because, of course, it is such an emotive topic, anything to do with essential oils, you know, and we really do operate on a real sort of precautionary principle at Neal's Yard Remedies. We are very, very careful with our use of essential oils, and it goes without saying that we never, ever recommend that anyone ever takes an essential oil orally, or swallows essential oil with a drink or anything like that, like some other companies suggest and promote. We don't do that, okay? Right, so yeah, just kind of wanted to touch on that. Didn't mean to get all heavy on you, but the remedies to roll, both the nighttime and the relaxation, are beautiful products. And again, they make such lovely gifts. You know, they're a great price point, £8, great stocking fillers, great little extra presents. And yeah, I love them. I absolutely love them. We also, of course, have our nighttime tea, and I thought that I would touch on this. It's obviously a very, very low price point for us, you know. I'm not telling you to go out and promote teas heavily because, you know, at £4 a box, you're not really earning very much money, but they are a really lovely add-on product. I really do feel they're a lovely add-on product. And I have to say, I use the teas a lot, not just for myself, you know, although I do drink them by the gallon, but I love the individually wrapped sachets. And whenever I give, you know, a bag out to a customer with their products in it that they've ordered, I always pop a sample in, you know, a relevant sample of you know, a range that I think they would like, or a product that I think they would like to try. But I always pop a individually wrapped tea bag in as well. My personal favorite at the moment is Quiet Time. I really like our Quiet Time. And that seems to be, you know, a nice generic calming cup of tea that people tend to like. But the nighttime tea is lovely, and it contains chamomile and lavender, but it also has lemon balm in it as well. It contains passion flower, valerian, and lime flower. So really beautiful ingredients. I'll just say that again quickly for those of you that are taking notes. So it contains chamomile, lavender, lemon balm, passion flower, valerian, and lime flower. Now, all our herbal teas are formulated by herbal experts. They are all 100% organic, as you would expect from Neal's Yard Remedies, of course, and they are Fair Wild certified. So that's quite nice, isn't it? I like the fact they're Fair Wild certified. Our tea bags are completely biodegradable. And they are made from natural abaca. I hope I'm saying that right. Again, pronunciation shocking. They are oxygen bleached, which means that essentially they're chlorine free. So a lot of the tea bags that, you know, are normal tea bags out on the market are bleached with chlorine. Ours are chlorine free completely, and they are actually just been bleached with oxygen. When I say they're biodegradable as well, I don't just mean the tea bags themselves. I mean the whole thing, the string, the cardboard box that they come in. They're completely biodegradable, and you'll notice that they don't contain a staple like lots and lots of herbal teas on the market do. Those little staples, which of course don't biodegrade and are very hazardous to wildlife. Ours don't contain a staple at all. They're actually, instead of a staple, they're actually stitched together with a tiny little bit of cotton. And I have found out that even the cotton is organic. And that is the attention to detail that I love about Neal's Yard Remedies. They think about every single detail, and they really are so passionate about the environment and the planet. the cartons, the cardboard cartons that I've just mentioned, come from sustainably managed woodlands, like all our packaging. I think you probably know that from, you know, when we talk about the lovely box sets we have at Christmas and things like that. And since 2012, Neal's Yard Remedies have, along with the Woodland Trust, protected over 100,000 square miles of endangered woodland. In fact, I think it's more than that now, because when I wrote this down, it was not last year, it was the year before. So I think it's more than 100,000 square miles of endangered woodland. But, you know, it's just, again, it's just a little bit of information to have, isn't it? It's nice to have this little bit of info. And lastly, because frankly, I could go on and on, you know, about the nighttime range. There's so many different things we could discuss. You know, we have French lavender, we have English lavender essential oil, we have lavandin. Do you know what I mean? There's so many different products that I could talk about that essentially could be used as nighttime products. You know, I'm a big fan of slathering my face with Wild Rose Beauty Balm before I go to bed. Do you know what I mean? Because that is a really good overnight treatment. So there are so many different avenues and things that we could talk about, or we would be here literally till Christmas. So I will have to wrap it up. But one thing I did want to mention is our lovely home fragrance range, because the calming candle and the calming reed diffuser, we have a spray as well, room spray, really are very, very good at helping to relax and unwind. And although I wouldn't necessarily put them in the sleep category, the nighttime category, I think, you know, when you're just sort of thinking about unwinding after a long day, trying to relax, trying to kind of, you know, or just unwind after a long day at work, then they are really lovely products. And it's just something, again, for you to be mindful of when you are thinking about, you know, these ranges, and when you are talking to your customers and your clients, how, you know, their lifestyle, how stressed they are. We're all stressed, aren't we? Especially at the moment. You know, let's be honest, the world has gone completely bonkers in the last couple of years. Really frightening stuff. I know a lot of people whose anxiety has just shot up, particularly since this whole nightmare in Ukraine. And having some, you know, products around the house that might not necessarily be geared for nighttime and sleep, but actually just help you unwind, help you relax, help you take the edge off your anxiety, like a calming candle or a calming reed diffuser, really will eventually help to aid you to have a better night's sleep, because you've unwinded. Unwinded? No, unwound? Would we say unwound? You know what I mean? Decompress might be a better word, throughout the evening before you've gone to bed. So I just thought I'd sort of mention that as well. Of course, I've already mentioned, you know, our lovely lavender shower gel, which I like. We have our lovely lavender body lotion as well, don't we? And in fact, I've got one particular lady who swears by that. She absolutely loves the lavender body lotion. And again, personal preference, I wouldn't necessarily lump that into a nighttime training session, but I know that this particular lady tends to put that lotion on at night time, and she prefers a more zesty sort of lotion in the day. In fact, I think she uses the Be Lovely body lotion in the day and will use the lavender one at night. So, you know, we really could go on and on about all the different lovely products that Neal's Yard Remedies has to offer. But I do hope that that has helped a little bit. As I say, I couldn't go into huge detail with each and every product in the beauty, sleep and nighttime ranges, because we really would have been here for forever. But I'd highly recommend nealsyardremedies.com as a resource. It really is fantastic. And if you want to know a little bit more about sleep or get some more facts for yourself, then the National Sleep Organisation is a good one. And there's some tips for getting a good night's sleep and sleep in general on the NHS website as well. What I'm going to do now is I am going to stop the recording. And then if anybody here that's live with me tonight wants to come off mute, wants to say anything, wants to shout anything out, share anything, then of course you have the opportunity to do that without being on YouTube forever. So I'll just come off